In this episode,
most of them are working in the offices, or they're just on vacation and doing some stuff on their laptop, but they are not really recognized as digital nomads. I would say that we need this kind of community in Lithuania. That's why it's here. For the last 1 year and a half, more than 1 year and a half, it was pretty busy time.
many women are scared to travel there or there alone because of the safety.
And you have to really be outgoing person. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for you to be like a digital nomad.
There's one tip, like how to present your professional life. For example, when someone asks you, so what do you do? You don't say, I'm a social media manager, right? It just doesn't give the person so much content. But rather you say,
local people, they are complaining about digital nomads coming and raising the prices, especially for accommodation.
Okay guys, welcome to our podcast. Rokas, nice having you. I know you for quite a while, and it always seemed to me that you have quite interesting life. I mean, you travel a lot, you work for yourself, you work remotely, you're a genuine digital nomad, and you do cycling a lot. You're a food lover. Maria and me are excited to learn from you, like what are the pros and cons of having this digital nomad lifestyle, and what's your thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much for introduction, and hello, Maria and Dimitra.
Hello.
It's very nice that you invited me to your podcast. So I will try to do my best explaining about digital nomad life. So I'm currently now in Thailand. That is one of the most renowned locations for digital nomads. Basically, digital nomad is already not a new thing in nowadays life, and especially after and during pandemic, lots of people noticed that there is not so big necessity to go to the office and to work from home or to work from office. You can travel all the time. That's what lots of my friends started doing. Instead of staying in Lithuania, they just started traveling and working remotely. So basically, either you are a remote worker and you have your own business, or you work for an agency and you're always traveling, you can be recognized as a digital nomad. Usually, digital nomads are entrepreneurial people who own their own businesses, and they not necessarily travel all the time. They might have their own house or flat, but they can travel from time to time. That means that person has a home base where he can always return. But other kind of digital nomads, they are traveling most of the time during the year, or even every year, and they don't have their home base, they don't have their own flats, they don't have their car. They just travel and work remotely all over the world. So I myself, I'm traveling from time to time. I have a home base in Lithuania and Vilnius, but for now I'm in Thailand, and I think I'm gonna stay here for at least 3-4 months. And it's a perfect location to start your digital nomad journey, just because you meet a lot of like-minded people here. You meet a lot of people who are on a very similar mindset like you, who also like traveling and lots of people have their own businesses, or they're working in, for instance, remote agencies. This is also another trend to have a remote agency who doesn't have an actual physical place, but they're spread out all over the world, and they're either traveling together or they're just working remotely. So yeah, let me tell you more about it. Just ask anything.
Sure.
What you're
Yeah,
interested.
sure. Sure, Rokas. Thank you so much for your introduction and explaining to us, to our listeners, about digital nomad lifestyle. And you're doing it for a while. How did it start? Like, do you remember the moment you decided, yeah, I'm going to be a digital nomad? And how did your life change? Uh, do you have like before, after story?
Well, the beginning was actually when I went to the first Digital Nomads event that was in Barcelona. It was in 2018. The owner and the founder of Nomad Cruise, Johannes Wolkner, he organized one of the first home base events in Barcelona for 2 or 3 weeks, just before the cruise that went from Barcelona to Brazil. So I decided to check what kind of people are gonna gather there. What kind of people is like with a digital nomad mindset, and then I decided to go to Barcelona for 3 weeks, and I had one of the best trips in my life. So the event itself, it was like a conference for business people, for entrepreneurs, for remote workers, freelancers, digital nomads. And we had lots of different talks. By talks, I mean like TED Talks, who are people who are like us. They are introducing their own businesses. They are introducing how they started, what kind of failures they had, what kind of successes they had, and how they have been working on their business, and maybe also some workshops that we attended there. So it's like a conference for digital nomads, entrepreneurs, with lots of networking and lots of meetups that are organized in all Barcelona. So one evening we are gathering in our co-working space where we work together all day. Then we have some talks. Then we have a networking event. Then we go to the restaurant. Then we go to the bars.
Mm-hmm.
Another day is kind of the same. Maybe we go for some trip outside of Barcelona to explore other parts nearby. So it's very dynamic. It's not like everything about business and not everything about networking, but you definitely find your tribe there. You find lots of different people that you actually they actually become your friends later, and then you start traveling with them. So it was like it was a start for me, and I said that it's just something more interesting than just going to Barcelona exploring it. You are inside the community. You are inside the between the people that has very similar mindset, and it made me feel good, and that means that this thing, I would say, is for me, and that's why I'm always returning there.
Yeah, yes. Sounds like a good story, yeah. And I've heard that investing in your surrounding, your community, is one of the best investments that you can do, like except investing in yourself.
Yes, for sure. It's all about like community thing, because there are lots of people who are traveling, and most of them are working in the offices, or they're just vacation and doing some stuff on their laptop, but they are not really recognized as digital nomads. Um, Actually, lots of them are more keen to meet other people. They're keen to be in a like a community. That means that you like going to work in a co-working space instead of working at home, because if you're working at home, then you can work anywhere. As a digital nomad, you usually go to the co-working space. You find a co-working space that suits you, that where you meet other people with whom you later can travel, go out, network, and so on. So it's also a very important part to not be afraid to meet other people, and to communicate. And well, it doesn't mean that you have to be a super extrovert, but lots of people are extroverts or in the middle,
Yeah.
and like being in a community.
Yeah, makes sense. And have you met anybody there on your networking events that significantly influence your professional or non-professional life?
I met some people that are also working in the marketing agencies, and even some people who are running their agencies. So they are either influencing me in the field of marketing. I mean that I get very good tips. I get some tips how to do better social media campaigns, how to run ads, how to do branding, and so on. And we always discuss these things. And so professionally, you can definitely grow as a person, as a professional, as a specialist in your field, and you will definitely meet in all of those communities, in all those travels. You will definitely meet people who are doing and who are working the same job as you, and you can get lots of inspiration and lots of good tips from them.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And is being digital nomad for everyone or not? How do you think? Is there any people who will not benefit from this lifestyle?
Well, there are lots of different kind of people who are traveling. So especially people who are more into like vacation mode. So
Mm-hmm.
they're just booking hotel and some tours, and they are going, for instance, either to Thailand or Bali, and they are just spending their vacation doing a little bit of work, or maybe even no work at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean that they are like real digital nomads. So even if you take your laptop with you on your vacation or workation, it usually doesn't mean that you're a digital nomad, because you might be doing it only for 1 or 2 weeks, and then you come back, and you are not connecting with other people. You're not trying to find your like-minded people. You're not going to the co-working spaces. So I wouldn't say that this lifestyle is for everybody, but I would say it's for those people who are more interested in not only traveling and working remotely, but also being inside the communities, who are more easygoing, and who can communicate easily, who can understand other people easily, and that means you are more open to
Mm-hmm.
new contacts, to making new relationships, and to getting more business contacts. And you have to really be outgoing person, otherwise it doesn't make sense for you to be like a digital nomad, you know.
Rokas, and did you develop any other skills thanks to being a digital nomad?
Well, you develop a lot of planning skills, that's for sure. You're
Mm.
planning your trips, you're planning your accommodation, you're planning what you're gonna see in those locations, and of course your finance. So you're pretty good at planning everything. Also, I would say that you can easily recognize people that you really like and that you'll get along, because you will meet thousands of people during your trip. So you will start picking people who are more interested in you, and maybe you will get along with them, because not all people that you meet will become your friends. And it's an issue that to maintain like relationship with all people during all the travels is one of the hardest parts here. Yeah.
When I think about digital nomadism, like a few locations come to my mind. It's Indonesia, Thailand, where you are right now. For someone who recently been to Asia, like why these places attract so many digital nomads?
So most of them are going just because of the climate and because it's cheap. So these are, I would say, the main reasons, and that's why lots of digital nomads are attracted here, especially in Thailand, in Bali, and in Vietnam. You can get cheap accommodation, you can get cheap food, almost always perfect weather, and it's very easy to meet other people here as well. Like they have either in Bangkok or Koh Phangan, or even here in Koh Lanta, they have co-working spaces where you can just meet your new colleagues, meet your new friends, and travel buddies. So I would say that these are the main reasons.
Yeah, could you cover one more topic, like regarding connection with people? Like what makes a good connection? Like how to make a good first impression with those people?
From your opinion?
Yeah.
There is no actual rule. It's very dynamic and it's very subjective. You will lots of times you will be even disappointed with other people, but sometimes you will get along and you will get a click instantly. So it's the same as like you meet other people either while you're in a networking event, or you're meeting a person while you're dating, so you either get a click, you get a contact, or no. If you know how to start a conversation, if you are outgoing person and you know your topic well, you know your job well, you can be one of the most interesting people among the group. So it's going to be very easy for you. So I met lots of different kind of people. Some of them are very easygoing and you get along very easy. Some
Mm-hmm.
it's no, always everywhere like that. You never know what you're gonna meet.
Do you
And
have? Yeah.
I want to ask, did you experiment how to present yourself? because the first impression is the most important impression. And sometimes I'm not thinking about that, like how I'm presenting myself. Sometimes I'm thinking, and it makes a big difference. How it's in your case?
So nobody is actually thinking about these things because most of the people just trying to keep it very casual. These meetups are not formal. They never are, and they will never be. So it's not like introducing yourself while public speaking or TED Talk, and this is a completely different thing. But if you're going to the networking event, for instance, yesterday we had one event on the beach where we were just chatting with different people. So sometimes you don't know what to say, and you just listen to people what they are talking about, and then you just connect into the conversation. So there is no other way. Like you either start with a small talk, or you listen to what other people say, and then you just add something more, and you include yourself in a conversation. So it's very dynamic. You never know how to start and what's going to happen. Sometimes it's very nice and successful, and sometimes it's quite boring. So you never know.
Yeah, sometimes you get the energy and you feel so uplifted after the conversation.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have zero energy. You won't just disappear from this event.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that probably no one starts talking straight away about your professional life, like what do you do, right? But sooner or later, the question like, so what do you do, comes up, right? And in this case, like, do you have like a strategy how to present what you're doing? For example, uh, I'm reading right now this book. It's called How to Talk to Anybody. There's one tip like how to present your professional life. For example, when someone asks you, "So what do you do?" You don't say, "I'm a social media manager," right? It just doesn't give the person so much content. But rather you say, "I help health and wellness companies to grow on social media to, let's say, 8 figures monthly."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is more interesting way to introduce yourself. You can find different ways how to do that, but as I mentioned earlier, usually people don't think about this kind of thing, and depending on your job and on your profile, for instance, if you're working in marketing, you can you present yourself like in a very different ways. So either you're only specializing in digital, or you're in the traditional marketing, or maybe you are a CEO of a company, and or maybe you're working in a big corporation where you are a marketing manager. So it depends on people who are with you. You just see what kind of people they are, and that means how, like, you just see how you want to introduce yourself. So if you are creative in introducing yourself, it's always better. It's always better to clarify what you're doing. It's always working because people really are tired of small talking nowadays. And if you're just saying bluntly that I'm a manager in a company, that's it's true, but it's quite boring. So you have to find ways how to stand out from the crowd and to introduce yourself better.
Yeah, totally. Like being just a manager is just it's a very naked introduction. Like doesn't give much context.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
want to go to the question regarding digital nomad communities, how to find them and how to connect with people when traveling. So do you have any tips?
So I started first of all on Facebook. Check Facebook groups whether you're going. The easiest way is just to find groups and type, for instance, Digital Nomads Bangkok, Digital Nomads Bali. You will definitely find lots of groups where you can join. And from then, you can ask whether there are more groups, because some of the best groups I joined are not on Facebook, but on WhatsApp. So WhatsApp communities and some Slack communities are the best ones because they are really organized and they are very active. Facebook is becoming not really popular between digital nomads because it's just quite old way of communication, and people are just joining WhatsApp groups instead because it's more dynamic, and you can get more instant notifications there. For instance, I have joined 3 very big communities on Slack. That is Las Palmas Digital Nomads Community, Madeira, and Lisbon. So they have thousands of people there, and it's very well organized where you can get tips and tricks for finding accommodation, finding a new job, finding new clients. You can get tips where to go, where to stay. Either you can find maybe buddies for hiking, for volleyball, for football, for any kind of sport. So whatever they are doing, you can create a topic for that, and you can find an answer there. So especially those groups on Slack are very well organized, especially in Las Palmas, because it depends on the manager, but managers in Madeira and Las Palmas are very well organized and strict, and that makes it makes very easy to see all the information, and and I really advise just to start searching on, first of all, on Facebook, and from there you can ask people how to join those groups on WhatsApp and on Slack.
And you mentioned recently that the community of digital nomads in Istanbul is very big and popular. So I was recently in Istanbul 1 month ago, and I was asking Dmitro for any tips, and he said I can check on Facebook Digital Nomads Community. I checked, and it wasn't really helpful, I suppose. Like, the Facebook community is not very helpful, and probably they have something else on site, maybe also Slack or another WhatsApp group.
Yeah, it's sometimes they are not even called digital nomads. Sometimes they're just, you can find people, for instance, trying different keywords, expats, foreigners, and so on. Like, you just have to try different kind of keywords, and then you can find it on Facebook maybe.
Yeah, I got invitations to kebab shop.
Yeah. Networking, socializing.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Rokas, as digital nomad communities culture is growing year over year, how are the prices in those locations like Thailand, Indonesia are growing, and what's the locals' attitude to this situation? Our nomads are still being welcomed there from the locals.
So, for instance, in Thailand, it doesn't feel very much because, in any way, it's a very touristy country. So you will find more tourists here than digital nomads. So the prices are not really relatable, and they're not dependent on digital nomads, for instance, in Thailand. But in Bali, and especially in Madeira, where Madeira is it's a big but not very big island, but lots of local people, they are complaining about digital nomads coming and raising the prices, especially for accommodation. So they have a real problem there, because some local people cannot afford living there already, and that is a big problem, especially in Madeira. Also, it's becoming a problem in Las Palmas and Tenerife. So that means that while you are a digital nomad, entrepreneur, or remote worker, you're earning more money and you can afford more. That means that the market is increasing the prices for accommodation, but you're still paying those prices, and it's not good for locals. And it's sometimes it's not even good for us, for digital nomads or just remote workers, because this is the market thing that the prices are increased, and it's sometimes they're paying just too much. The accommodation in Madeira 3-4 years ago was like double the price like now. It was half of the price like now, so double it in 3 years. So it's kind of not normal thing. And there is no solution for that, because it's all about tourism. We are also kind of paying for accommodation. Some people start doing like this. They find accommodation for a long term. So the best thing, if you want to save money, just find accommodation for long term. Don't travel every week, because traveling every week is just a waste of money and time and energy. Just try to find accommodation for 3 months, 6 months, better for 1 year in one location, and then you can switch to another location. So in this case, you will save at least 30%, minimum 30% of your accommodation budget.
Yeah. And what amounts someone should expect to pay, like for a 3 months contract in Madeira for room or studio, small studio?
Well, I found lots of different options there, but usually now for one person, you can get a studio or one bedroom apartment starting from, usually now it's about 1,000, especially during winter time. It starts in 1,000. Sometimes you get it for 900. Really well established, like very new, brand new, you will get it for 1,400, 1,500 per
It's a
month.
lot.
So, but if you are signing the long-term contract, you will definitely get a better price. It's even it's everywhere like that. So, for instance, in Thailand, lots of people, they are booking the first week, and then they go to see. They make a route which hotels or which accommodations they want to have a look, and then they talk in person with a manager, and they definitely get 20-30% cheaper than on booking.com, on Airbnb. So if you want to save money, this is the best way, just to go in person and to pay, especially in cash. In this way, you can save lots of money.
It's a good.
And do you have any advices for managing finances if you're a digital nomad?
Well, for managing finances, it's a very, well, I would say, common thing, because if you are already a digital nomad, if you have a business, most probably you are already managing your finances well, and
Mm,
you just have to be sure that you will get accommodation and everything sorted out for the next 3-4 months, and that's it. So depending on your job and on your contract, your finances should be like prepared for at least one half year in advance. So there is no like very big tips how to do that, but the best thing is just to differentiate your income and have
mm,
different sources of income, whether passive or active income. Whether you're investing in bitcoins or other cryptocurrency and
mm,
so on, or maybe I know that some nomads they are running Airbnb business while traveling. So
mm,
Airbnb business is like always doing well, especially for those nomads who have their apartments in Canary Islands. So it's always booked, and
mm,
they have their they have their finances sorted out. But the best thing is
Yeah.
just to try to organize your income from different sources, so that, for instance, you lose one source, then you can still get income from another one.
And are you investing?
Currently, I'm not investing. I'm not into that, but
Uh-huh.
for sure, I'm trying to figure out where to invest nowadays.
Mm,
But most probably the best option would be to find a new hotspot for digital nomads, and to invest in accommodation there, and just to set up Airbnb. So
mm.
lots of people are doing that, and it always it's usually quite successful business. So
Yeah.
it's a very good investment, I would say.
Mhm. And do you use any software or application for tracking your expenditures or an income?
Usually I just use Excel. Just put all the trips into Excel. It's more than enough. There's no difficulties in doing that. You just need to see what kind of accommodation you're having and what are the expenses.
Yeah.
So there is no tool. I wouldn't advise on that using some tools unless you are spending lots of money on different kind of things.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
And what's the biggest challenge that you faced as a digital nomad, and how did you overcome it?
So there are few ones. First of all is connecting with people that already left. So that means you can stay in one country, in one city for quite a while. You can make lots of contacts and friends, but they might leave next month
Mm,
and to keeping in touch is the hardest part. But this is part of life. You never know when people are going, and this you have to get used that you will never travel with the same people all the time. And this is so for some people it's an issue, but some people just got used to it. Um, Another thing is, I would say maybe going to more to the places that are less explored and that you are
mhm,
not really aware of, and finding new people there, new communities there is sometimes it's quite hard. because either they are not well known or they're still not established. So you have to plan according to like either what you want to see in that location, and to decide whether you want a community, whether you want to work in a co-working space, and then decide where you want to go. So sometimes it's tricky to make a very concrete plan. So nowadays, lots of digital nomads, they are not planning like a lot in advance. They are just planning for the next month, and that's it. And if you plan for the next month or two, for usually it's more than enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes planning is a tricky part, but you'll get used to it.
For me, it happened when I went by myself to Istanbul. Some of my girlfriends texted me with such message that they would never go to Istanbul alone, and or to other Asian countries. So among women, it's such a topic that many women are scared to travel there or there alone because of the safety. Have you struggled sometimes, like for example, you didn't want to go there because it didn't feel safe, or it was always with a good experience for you?
Well, it depends. For instance, while I was traveling in Mexico, I had lots of stereotypes and thoughts that something happen. So, but when you go to, for instance, Playa del Carmen, the biggest hotspot in Mexico for digital nomads. Another one is, I would say, Mexico City and Puerto Vallarta. For instance, in Quintana Roo, whether you are in Playa del Carmen or Tulum, usually you feel quite safe because there are lots of foreigners, there are lots of American and Canadian people, and they are interested in your safety because they get money from you. There are some regions, for instance, in Mexico, especially near the border, Juarez, Baja California, where it's not advisable to go any, like, even for any tourists. So you just have to be aware of that, of some districts. For instance, even in Mexico City, there is a very dangerous district called Tepito, where it's really not advisable to go, especially at nighttime. So you just skip it, and that's it. But wherever you go, anything can happen to you, but you don't have to think about it and worry about it. So when I was living in Playa del Carmen, like, nothing happened. Sometimes you just have to be aware. Maybe instead of getting a taxi in there, you can just get it on, for instance, on Uber or on just local taxi numbers. That I got some taxi numbers that are reliable and that are not scammers or so on. And that's it. And then you can travel with ease, and you won't have any problems. So
cool. Yeah, Rokas, a question regarding one question regarding finances. For people who think that leading a digital nomad lifestyle is super expensive, do you have like any opinion on what should be like as a minimum amount that you should travel with, like that you should be getting?
I wouldn't say there is a minimum. I would say that depends on your lifestyle. Some nomads are renting out quite expensive condos and apartments. Some people they can have it for like 700 euros per month. So it depends on your lifestyle and on your needs. But I mean, also regarding food, for instance, one of my friend, he's like almost never goes to the restaurants and cafes. he's spending money in the supermarkets, and he's preparing his food at home. So you save lots of money if you do that. But some people are always eating out, so that means you have a bigger budget. So lots of people are coming to Thailand because they never eat at home and they never cook because it's so cheap here. Sometimes it's even cheaper than just buying all the groceries and cooking at home. And because Thailand is a culture of food and street food, it's so easy and so cheap to get it anywhere that even locals, I see that they are just going to the street food stalls and they are eating there. So it's just way more easy, and it saves times and sometimes even money.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. And how do you actually plan your work schedule when traveling so much? Do you have any routine, or does it change based on where you are?
Yeah, so it very depends on the person. Nowadays, lots of nomads are going, whether they are traveling in a big city or on the island. It really depends where you are. So if you're in a small island, probably you won't get a good gym. If you're in a city, some of the nomads usually they are going in the mornings or afternoon. They're going to the gym, and routine is like for everybody. You go work out, you go to co-working to do your daily work. You then go maybe to do some yoga, and then in the evening you meet your friends. So the routine is very different, but it depends on the person, on the location. So for me, it's I try to stay active and work out almost every day, or just jogging, and also go cycling if possible. But for instance, in Bangkok, cycling is like, it's just too hot, and jogging, you have to get up very very early if you want to jogging, because it's just too hot. If you're going to the island, it's more convenient because it's less hot sometimes, but still you have to get up very early. So yeah.
By the way, do you have right now a full-time job, or are you very flexible with that?
Currently, I'm working with the clients in Lithuania on my social media marketing, and I'm doing content and ads for them. So, but I don't have 9 to 5 job, so I'm very
Okay.
flexible. I have just to do my projects in time, but I manage my time just how I like it, and I'm just responsible for giving client a result. So that means if I need to work today like 8-10 hours or maybe even more, I will have to do that. So maybe tomorrow I will not be working at all. So it's very flexible, I would say.
Yeah.
Cool. And have you ever felt settling down in one place, or do you want to be on the move all the time?
Yeah, of course. I would like to. I would like to settle down for a longer time. So there is a trend for nomads and entrepreneurs and people who are just working remotely and they don't have their casual office jobs. They started to slow travel. So that means you're staying in one place for at least half a year or a year, and that means you can get more contacts, you can get more relationships, you are more constant and you're more settled down, and maybe even after 1 year you can still continue living there. So I prefer to do the slow living lifestyle, slow traveling lifestyle, because it's just more interesting. If you go to the new place and you just stay there 2 weeks, you will not really explore it. unless you're only traveling and exploring it every day and not working. That means that you're on vacation, actually. But if you want to manage your work, a little bit of traveling, making contacts, networking, it usually takes a lot of time and energy. And if you want to get to know, especially the new culture where you're going to, it's advisable just to stay longer instead of traveling all the time.
Yeah. Do you have any places in your list where you would stay for longer?
So I would say that in my plans, it's Madeira. I always come back there. So it would be my third time, and I would like to stay longer there. And also, I would say that Mexico. So I'm still learning Spanish language, and staying in the location where you can practice the language is the best thing. Because in Thailand, their languages, they use different kind
Alphabet.
of alphabet. Yeah, exactly. And it's quite hard to understand. But yeah, some foreigners are started learning Thai language, and it's not a problem. So it depends on your mindset, actually. But yeah, for now, I would say it's either Madeira or Mexico.
Cool. And I know that you co-founded Digital Nomads in Lithuania group. I want to
Yes.
ask you what was the motivation behind founding it, and how founding it impacted your life and maybe life other people.
So although Lithuania is still and maybe not in the nearest future gonna be a touristic location where people gonna go, especially digital nomads, gonna go to stay longer. But yeah, I would say that we need this kind of community in Lithuania. That's why it's here. And for the last 1 year and a half, more than 1 year and a half, it was pretty busy time, and it was expanding and growing really rapidly. The problem with Lithuania is that most of the people joining our community are not digital nomads, but they're either expats living here or some foreigners that are working remotely. That is also good because it's all about the community. It's not about your job like title. It's not about your job description. It's about having a good, interesting, well-versed, different community inside Lithuania. And although we have different groups on Facebook, this group, lots of people are joining the networking events because they really like the people they meet there. They really like spending time with them, and we try to do as much events as possible for all foreigners and locals that like to communicate, that like community vibe, that want to help us grow. And yeah, for the last year, it was like growing really rapidly, and I'm very happy for that. And I hope it's gonna be more known worldwide. So I'm also promoting the community in some other groups. So either like, for instance, in Madeira, lots of people already know that they're gonna join the community when they come to Lithuania. But those people are, for instance, they're staying in one place usually just because of the good climate. And Lithuania, I noticed that lots of digital nomads, they're coming only at summertime. This is a natural thing, and it's always going to be like that. Not many nomads are coming in wintertime.
And
But
what is the video? Sorry
Mhm.
for yeah. Continue.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that sometimes climate is not an excuse, because there is a very big and one of the biggest communities in the world in Bansko. And wintertime they have mountains. So what is really attractive there is people go snowboarding and skiing, and they have a very big Bansko Digital Nomads Community that you can find also on Facebook. And that means that there has to be some kind of an attraction for people, not only going to the warm countries, but also in European countries. So if you're interested in being in a community during wintertime, I really advise either going and joining our community, or just trying your skills while snowboarding and skiing, and spending a few weeks in Bansko.
Mm. And are you managing this digital nomads community in Lithuania by yourself only, or do you have a team? How does it work?
So recently I started collaborating with a hiking guide, Alex. He's a really nice guy. And we'll start doing more hiking trips
Mm-hmm.
with him. But regarding all the communication, regarding all the meetups, I'm currently doing them myself. Because I'm not currently in Vilnius, I will start collaborating with a few people who will help me to do those events and at least host them in Lithuania.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for now on, I was doing all the events and the communication myself.
Okay.
So yeah, we're still growing. We still need to attract more people, and during next month we will do some more maybe niche events. For instance, marketing, AI, fintech, and so on, who are will be more organized to a specific audience, to specific people who are interested in specific topics. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see.
Yeah.
And in the past, we had a podcast guest, Hannah from Hamburg. She's a founder of a community for females who also are expats or also Germans to support each other. And I know they struggle to monetize it. And question to you, is it for now like a hobby, or it's also like your business to manage the community in Lithuania?
For now, it's a hobby, but
Mm-hmm.
we will try to give value to our audience while doing the events. So yes, usually, for instance, in Madeira or Las Palmas, those communities are so big, and monetizing them, that means that usually you're creating some kind of events that can give you money back. That
Mm-hmm.
means, for instance, Madeira is a perfect hiking location. So you can organize a hike and you can earn money. You can do a cycling trip in Gran Canaria. You can do surfing in Tenerife. So with these kind of events, you can earn money. You can monetize. But
Mhm.
for instance, all the networking events everywhere, it's always free, because networking is not about monetizing. It's about building the community and sustaining it, and to showing people what kind of community we have, so that people can meet and meet new colleagues and network. So, but there are different kind of types how you can monetize, and you just have to think of how
Yeah.
and what kind of value you have to create for your audience.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed to monetize your community.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you.
Yeah. And Rokas, what advice would you give someone who wants to live as a digital nomad but doesn't know how to start or scared of it?
hmm I would say that first advice is to find a remote work and to try to see if you have stable finances, and then you can start traveling. Lots of people are afraid of traveling alone, so this is the thing, that if you're afraid and if you don't like traveling alone, you can travel with your partner. It's no problem. You can travel with your girlfriend or boyfriend. But some digital nomads, they're traveling alone, and it's not a problem for them.
Yeah.
So first of all, if you want to quit your 9 to 5 job, you have to be determined to do that. And before doing that, I advise you to start your own business and to see that you will have stable finances for the next half a year. And then you can just start traveling and joining the communities. It's quite simple, but when you start doing it, then you will see that it's very motivating, and you will be hooked on it. And just because you don't nowadays, you don't really need an office. Digital nomads and entrepreneurs call their office a co-working space. So wherever you go, you will find like-minded people in most of the countries. And if you go to the co-working space, you will still be among people, and you will still have people who can support you. You can find friends, you can find new partners and new clients. So yeah, it depends. It depends on the personality. For introverts, it can be harder. For extroverts,
Yeah.
it's gonna be quite simple. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Like, I really agree on this point. Like when you wanna do something, you have to surround yourself with people who are doing the same things, so you will get this motivation. So in terms of becoming a digital nomad, you have to surround yourself with people who are also digital nomads, and that will push you, motivate you to actually grow in this direction. Because initially you
Yeah.
could be scared.
Yes, for sure. You have to surround yourself with a people and community that can support you. And there are some communities that are really strong in that. And but just be aware that all people are different, and lots of people are traveling all the time. So sometimes you can find, for instance, such communities as Nomad Cruise, a community for digital nomads and entrepreneurs who want to join the trip, or not a trip, like a journey on a big cruise ship. And you can travel with them for 1 week or a few weeks, and you will be inside the community, and you will find like-minded people with whom you can travel afterwards. So there are different kind of projects nowadays, from retreats to Nomad Cruise. Some people are organizing Nomad Train that is going, for instance, through Europe or somewhere in Asia, and you
Yeah.
just travel together for a week on a boat or a train, and you are inside the community. So there are very different options how you can travel and how you can explore and meet other people and communities.
Your story is very inspiring to listen to, because I usually consider myself as a person who likes going to the office. I have never struggled with that. I don't imagine myself working just sitting at home, because the office or like co-working space gives you the ability to communicate and meet people. And from another side, I'm thinking this life is too short just to sit on one place. Even if, for example, I'm living in Hamburg and just to work in Hamburg all my life, and we never know what happens next.
Yeah, exactly. Life is too short. I would say, like, I recognized and I understood that it's just not worth going to the same office every day, while you can have office in all the places you travel. So, but this is the point, that you have to understand that for some people, for instance, who have families, this is not an option to travel all the time. Although even nowadays, lots of families are going to Canary Islands and they're spending all winter there, and they're working there as well. I wouldn't consider them as a digital nomads, but still, like, this is a concept, this is a mindset where you understand that, yeah, we have a home here in Vilnius, but we can spend the winter where it's warm, and we can do that with our family, with our children, and it's not a problem. But for some people, they are okay of going to the office in their hometown, and it's okay. So it depends on you. It depends on your on your personality, how outgoing you are, and on your mindsets.
Yeah, we are all we are all different, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Rokas, thanks so much for sharing all your experience with us, and we will also we will link your, like, I know, Instagram or Facebook or other links. So maybe some people will have questions regarding the Nomad community, Nomad lifestyle, or we can link your community in Lithuania. So I'm sure that we have some listeners from Lithuania, not only Dmitry. So more people will follow. And yeah, for anyone who has listened to this and like our episode, please subscribe, give us thumbs up, follow us, and share this episode with everyone who is interested in wellness and chaos.
Yeah, thank you
Thank you very
again,
much.
Rokas. It was very insightful.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. Well, yeah. See you next time.
If you enjoyed this episode and want to stay updated with our future content and support what we are doing, don't forget to give it a thumb up, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss our latest episode.